speak for myself. I think I certainly go through periods of my life where you question a loved one. That would be the time where you would be most questioning. But I actually have found, unfortunately now, with all of our relatives, it to be a strengthening time. The impact, the strength, the connection that you feel, the loss that you feel, with just really another human being, but there's no physical connection. The existence of that sense of loss, that strange, that strong sense of loss, to me proves more than anything that there is something supernatural. We're not just the accident of some biological mixing of chemicals. There's no other way of explaining the connection that one feels. And that miracle continues as the year continues. You start the year, you can't mention your loved one's name without completely feeling like you're hitting something. The pain, the suffering. And magically, miraculously, over this year, that is substituted. The pain is substituted for just, in my case, a series of most unbelievable positive memories of my father. And the brilliance of the Avelis period and what was constructed by the rabbis mirrors this transformation over the years. And to me is the most incredible proof that people can overcome this loss and feel the joy of someone's life in that relatively short time period. And I just want to share, and what really goes on in my mind when I say Kaddish, or when I think of my father, to this point, it's like I feel like a screensaver. I just have these images, experiences, random experiences with him, all positive. And I just wanted to share just a few random thoughts that come to mind as I think of my father these days. To sort of help capture what he was like. I obviously have this picture of him I remember as a child watching him speak at political rallies. The strength and the passion and the love for what he was doing. I think of him, obviously, anyone that knew him thinks of him when you go to a concert with him, or where you went to where you listen to him, listen to music. Tears would come to his eyes, easily, through listening to music. And we all remember, anyone that sat next to him, how he would conduct the music from his seat. Just lovely. I think of him as a child. I think of what he was like as a child. Incredibly devoted to his parents. I mean, an example that I can never live up to. I remember visiting my grandmother with him until the very end, and it was a meaningful connection. Just like he had with his grandchildren, he had with his parents until the very end. Not just a cursory visit, I've done my duty. It was an incredible connection. I picture in him his understanding. This is something I spoke about during Shiva one. I took it for granted. Jeff and I were becoming Shomer Shabbos in high school. In NTSY, it was very common for parents to resist, to actually feel like they were being rejected. My parents embraced it. They actually moved. We sold our home, moved to be close to Beth Jacob. I took it for granted at the time, but he was an incredible understanding of this part. I have pictures of him in Las Vegas. I've been spending a lot of time in Las Vegas this year, and I've been saying Kaddish, and it's sort of a certain karma because he loved Las Vegas. But it was not just on a shallow sense. That's where he came to life. You saw him at the craft table, and essentially you saw everything that you all remember about him, how vibrant he was, how entertaining he was, how much he enjoyed life. I think of him often as obviously a grandfather, and the connection with his grandchildren. There's one example that, frankly, I used to cry when I thought about it even before it happened. Tamar was coming home. It's so epitomizing. Tamar was coming home after a year in Israel. Hadn't seen Tamar in a year. He was already bedridden. Couldn't wait to see her. We came back from the airport very early. It was a surprise. And I walked in. I wanted to make sure that he was okay. Tamar to come in. He said, no, give me a couple of minutes. Tamar and I watched from the door as he was combing his hair, holding his beard, putting his Old Spice on. This was not just ego. For the last year, it took literally everything he could do to get himself together to go to shul. He just wanted to let people, he wanted to live life until the very end. He didn't want people to worry about him and think that he was suffering. He made whatever effort it was to get himself together. And finally, I can't conclude without saying, when I think of my father, I think of a joke. I think of humor. I think of his twinkling eyes. I think of the joy in which he both gave and received jokes. He was just, it just so epitomizes everything about him. So I just want to conclude by saying I feel very blessed. Blessed with all these memories. My father, my mother, my grandparents, my Aunt Abuba, my Aunt Minnie. And it's more than just consolation, I realize. It's this miracle that goes on during this year and his life continues. The miracle of being able to just think of a name of any of these people and conjure up memory after memory, example after example. And it's more than consolation. I view these memories as a guide for me for the rest of my life. A guide as to how to be engaged in the community, how to love family and friends, and it's something that I feel very blessed that I've experienced and I will continue to experience the rest of my life. Thank you again for all coming.